Every week, the program Sports Nation introduces you to the main events of Kazakhstan and world sports. We cover large tournaments, find outstanding heroes, and open doors to the best sports arenas in the country. What are the chances of the Kazakhstan national basketball team to get to the World Cup? How's life treating the Olympic champion and now the deputy of the Majlis, Olga Shishigina? What does the training of young hockey players look like? Now is the short overview of the main news. Kazakhstan's Astana Arlans club won the second victory at the start of the 8th season of the World Series of Boxing, defeating the Patriot boxing team from Russia with a score 5-0. Ilyas Suleymanov, Dilmurat Majitov, Nurbol Altayev, Abdulhan Amankul and Timurtaz Jusupov won points for the team. Astana Arlans is the current winner of the tournament. Goalkeeper of the national football team of Kazakhstan, David Loria, in the new season will protect the gates of Aktobe. The last club of the Kazakhstan goalkeeper, where he spent the last 3 seasons, was Irtysh. David Loria has 45 matches in the national team under his belt, a record among the goalkeepers and the 5th result among all players. All pairs for the first round of the playoff of the Kazakhstan Hockey Championship were determined. The winners of the regular championship, Nomad, will play against the minor from Rudny. Hockey club Irtysh will play against Kokshetau's Arlan, which finished second in the championship, for the right to play in the next round. The final stage of the winter rally, organized by Kazakhstan motorsport enthusiasts, was held in Astana. In the capital, sports cars reached the longest and most difficult track. As a result of the race, drivers from Astana, Nurpeisk Konuspayev and Denis Aksonov won in the category of the mono-driving cars. Peter Borodin and Roman Cheprasov from Almaty came second. Coming up in Sports Nation, we will visit domestic matches of the national team of Kazakhstan in basketball. The Kazakhstan national team started the series of home matches as part of the selection for the World Championship as the leaders of the Group D. Last fall, players of Mikhail Karpenko first beat the team of Qatar and then the team of Iraq. This time, Iranian basketball players, who are favorites of the group, were welcomed as guests. For the whole history, within the framework of FIBA tournaments, the team of Kazakhstan met with the Iranian team 6 times and won only twice. At the moment, our team can achieve high results. I believe that we're quite capable of getting out of the group. I believe that we will leave the subgroup and will participate in higher tournaments. As it was expected, the match with the Iranian national team turned out to be very difficult for Kazakhstani players. In the first 2 quarters, players of Mikhail Karpenko led an equal fight. But after, the Iranian team proved that they are not in vain called one of the best teams in Asia. The final score of the meeting was 54-75 in favor of the Iranians. The first defeat in the qualifying stage and the next match with Qatar becomes the key for our team in terms of getting to the second qualifying round of the World Championship. After 3 days on the same floor, the team of Kazakhstan welcomed the team of Qatar. More than 1,000 people came to support the national team. The hosts, with a difference of 1 point, lost in the first quarter, but then won in all 3 of the following segments. The most effective in the national team of Kazakhstan was captain Rustam Yergali, who scored 22 points. The final score was 96-63. We really needed this game, because we played badly with Iran. And in case of a loss today, we would not have gone further. The chances would be very small. Thanks to today's victory, we go further in the qualifying round as early as the next stage. The guys were trying really hard. The game did not work out with Iran. They are also a strong team physically. We coped with their leaders and everything turned out well for us. We have many things to work on. mutual understanding, the movement of the ball. There is always something to work on. For the Kazakhstan national team, this victory was the third in 4 matches of Group D. With 7 points, the team secured its way to the next round of qualification, which will be held in November 2018. According to the rules, there will be 3 teams from each group.
Наша сборная никогда так близко не была вообще к чемпионату мира.
Our team has never been so close to the World Cup. Any competitive events for players are a special test of their skills. 20–30% is occupied by psychological battle. The more players are exposed to international competitions, the more they become experienced.
Это уверенность в себе, больше опыта международного дает.
Fans are waiting for victories, but the very participation in international tournaments is victory already. I hope we will qualify for the World Cup, and thus we will show how not only our national team and our country is ready for the international level, and not only in political and economic aspects, but also in sports.
В каких-то политических аспектах или экономических, а в спортивных тоже.
The World Basketball Championship will be held in China in 2019. Previously, Kazakhstan has never been able to break into the World Championship. The highest achievement of domestic basketball players is still the 3rd place in the Summer Asian Games back in 2002. Next on Sports Nation, Olga Shishigina, the Olympic champion of Sydney, will share the brightest stages of her career.
Olga Shishigina devoted to sports more than 20 years. During her career, she passed through everything: gold medals and tears of happiness, pain from injuries and failures. Now she is not only a sports legend of Kazakhstan, but also a deputy of Majlis of Parliament.
Your excellent physical form. I guess sport is still a big part of your life.
Of course, sport is still a big part of my life. For an athlete, especially for a professional one, sport is like a drug.
You had a very bright sports career, but at the same time, there were ups and downs. Gold of Asian Games in 1994, then medals of the Summer and Winter World Championships. In 1996, before the Olympics, you suddenly disappeared, then a disqualification followed. What was going on at that moment?
На тот момент лучший результат сезона в мире.
At that time, I had the best results of the season in the world. I didn't lose any single start. My manager's wife came back to the sport and suddenly my disqualification followed.
Вот так вот я и попала в дисквалификацию. На тот момент это было очень редко.
That's how I got a disqualification. At that time, it was very rare. Now you see more of such cases. That was a good setup. This kind of situations help you realize who your true friends are and what they stand for, and who's just an acquaintance. It was a good lesson.
What was it like to be out of the main sporting event, despite the fact that you were in great physical shape? You were at the top of your game.
Конечно, была очень большая обида и на себя, и
Of course, there was a very great resentment for both myself and the sports agency that they didn't try to prove that it was just a false accusation, that they didn't win me back. At that time, we didn't have good sports lawyers.
адвокатов, юристов, именно что касается спорта.
You continued to study. You were hoping to get back into the sport and prove yourself.
Нет, я решила закончить спорт, но спасибо моим
No, at that time, I decided to finish my career in sport. My friends brought me back to the sport. One day they came to see me. We were having tea, and they said to me, "Come to the stadium." I said, "No, I don't want to." Their argument was, "You dedicated so much time to the sport, and you didn't achieve what every athlete dreams about yet."
достигла того, который каждый спортсмен мечтает.
What year was it?
Это был 98-й, я уже была.
It was 1998. I've already performed. It was the Asian Games and the Winter World Championships that I won.
Чемпионат мира зимний, где я выиграла.
It was all followed by the triumphant performance in Sydney in 2000, the gold of the Olympic Games. You were 32 years old. How did you do it?
Athletics is in itself a sport of late bloomers. Only after you turn 18 years old, your muscles begin to form, your bones become strong. At the age of 25 and 27, you are at the peak of your form. And then it stays with you depending on how well you manage your training. For athletics, this age is not the limit. We had athletes who performed to the age of 38 and 40.
I remember your performance, and I was worried sick about you. But do you remember these feelings, these emotions? What did you first want to say after the victory?
Probably, I wanted to thank myself for my work, my perseverance. It was a boom in the country. At the universities where we studied, in the schools where we trained. The entire Kazakhstan rejoiced with us and rejoiced sincerely. Then we came to Astana, to Akorda. This was the first time when the head of state gave away awards such as Boris of the First Degree.
I know that after the completion of a career, it is very difficult for athletes to find themselves. You even tried to become an actress. You briefly worked on Khabar TV channel as a journalist. Tell us about this experience.
Well, this is the problem of all athletes. When you finish the sport, it's hard to find yourself in another life. After the end of sports career, there was an offer to make a sports program. It was called The World of Sport. I tried to show the backstage of life of the sport.
The most important thing you have learned as a journalist on TV.
I learned to work with the camera and in front of the camera.
Later you put on a business suit and became a deputy of the Majlis of the parliament. How familiar was this role to you, and how comfortable are you now in the role of a deputy?
This position changed everything in my life. I never thought that I would find myself in politics, where there is a completely different atmosphere. Now, of course, it's much easier. As soon as I became a deputy, there was at once a law on sports. Probably the main thing that we managed to achieve that the Paralympic athletes were full athletes as our team. They also had a chance to get a pension, prize money, and after the victories, they received apartments.
We already have the result. There is a champion of the Paralympic Games in the country.
Yes, the law allowed that particular Paralympic sportswoman to get a state prize and an apartment. Our sponsors built a house for her. For a person with a disability in a wheelchair, this is the most important thing.
What are the main things that you did for the Kazakh sport as a deputy of the Majlis?
First of all, as we have said, an amendment to the law on sports about the Paralympic athletes was made. During this time, we were able to support federations. Also, we contributed to the fact that the sports grounds were built in all yards and in all regions. The program finally started its work. The money was allocated for gymnasts to build a gym.
I think you do not regret about how your destiny has developed in your career.
I absolutely don't have any regrets. I have achieved everything I wanted. I'm a mother, a beloved wife, Olympic champion, and I have a good career growth.
Я олимпийская чемпионка. Ну и хороший карьерный рост.
Coming up on Sports Nation, Coach Dmitry Kikot will talk about the development of children's hockey in Astana. Adilhan, bend your legs. Sit down lower. Sit down. Well done. Come on. And step over. Yerdalet, bend your legs. It really depends on each parent's decision individually. We accept children from 3 to 4 years old. You see, every child is different. Sometimes there are children who comprehend everything at 4 years old. But there can also be children who still need to play with toys. There is no point to explain anything to them. All children have different ways of learning. Parents can bring their children when they're 4 years old. We train them step by step, without giving them heavy training. A child must enjoy ice skating. He must want to come to the training only because he wants to. According to the trainers, the hockey team of the capital, Boris, has a lot to do with the growing popularity of hockey among young people. Its players have already become idols for those who just got on the skates. The development of hockey talents, the discovery of their potential, is an incredibly difficult job, requiring from children's trainers not only practical skills on the ice, but also pedagogical gift.
У них здесь свои друзья, своя компания, а далее уже начинаем более серьезно подходить.
They have their group of friends. Later on, we start to take a more serious approach, to give exercises that are more complex. During the first years, children only skate. Then we give them a hockey stick. Gradually, we add a puck, so that everything was in turn. We dedicate a lot of strength to their training. It is important to love children. First of all, and second of all, you must not only be a coach to them, but also their friend, a father, for someone a mother, so that they enjoy coming to the training.
Чтобы они приходили, любили вас, любили приходить.
For hockey, the child needs special equipment. The main sporting equipment consists of skates, a hockey stick, and a protection kit. Its minimum cost is 100,000 tenge. Some parents come and say, "Here he is, he skates better than me, he plays in the first group," but they're still 5-6 years old. It's too early to make any conclusions. At an early age, the leaders are those who quickly learn how to skate and play with the puck. And gradually, over time, it's very easy to catch up at the expense of a hard work and strong desire. I would say that it's never too late to bring your children to learn how to play hockey. In recent years, there has been a boom in hockey in Kazakhstan. More and more parents hope that someday their children will become next Jailaov and Dos. And it is not an accident, because now there are much more conditions for hockey training than 20 years ago. And yet the development of children's hockey in the country lags behind the youth and the adult. This is especially noticeable in the regions, whereas a few of private hockey schools have been opened in the capital.
Тогда, когда мы занимались и в детстве катались на улицах, у нас не было таких.
At the time, when we aspired to become stars of hockey, we skated in the street. We did not have such hockey ice centers, where we could train all year round. Now, of course, everything is changing, improving. We're trying to encourage it. Previously, Ust-Kamenogorsk was beyond competition. People from this city made the adult, youth, and children's teams. As we always had before, only the public school. Everything follows the same principle. We decided to bring some color to it. Here we have a throw-in zone, a zone for physical activity. On dribbling, you can work here.
Отработать те навыки, которые на льду, собственно, не получится отработать.
By tradition, we end our program with the video of the week. Today, the editorial board chose the video shot by one of the most talented freestylers in the world, the Frenchman, Candy Tove. Enjoy one day from the life of a skier who enjoys extreme skiing.